Welcome to The Wedding Wear with Officiating by Amanda. Welcome back to The Wedding Wear. We are picking up with the interview with my bride Amanda and all of her insights from the wedding. This is part 2, so if you missed part 1, go back and listen to that. You'll also want to listen to The Wedding Where I Cried for some additional context, and I'm very pleased to say that the next few episodes are also based on this wedding. So let's get into it. So here, I'll let you get a little more sip of drinks. We're going to transition into the wedding world.
Perfect.
Put your head 8 years back. The day. I don't know if my audio file automatically triggers out gulping, but I'll have to change that. So here, little cheers of the Helen's Melon.
Yes. Oh, I love it, by the way. It's delicious.
It really does give me vibes back to the 90s childhood. And you'll know this, the Cucumber Melon Bath and Body Works.
Cucumber Melon Bath and Body Works.
It feels that.
Yep. That was top notch. Right on par.
So looking back on your wedding day, what stands out as your favorite part?
Oh, I mean, hands down, the ceremony and the vows. Hands down. I mean, that was just, I mean, the rest of it was just icing on the cake, but that was hands down so special, so intimate. Just the fondest, I look back with the fondest memories of that. Just standing and I mean, looking out and seeing everybody there to support us. And, you see all of these people come together for us. And yet, it felt like the two of us at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't know if you have it for a little bit later on, but with your Unity box that you guys had the note for your daughter in there. And what I love was that was something so personal and private. You didn't read that out.
No.
Just in my heart of hearts, knowing that note exists and that it's there for her.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That was glorious. I felt like I'm in on this inside little thing.
Yeah.
But at the end, I know nothing.
Right.
You guys know.
Yeah.
And that I always
It's so
recommend for
special.
couples to try and find something, whether it's an inside joke you can sneak in, whether it's a special pin, a look, and anything that, because there's so much of the day that you are sharing with everybody else.
Yes.
So to have something that really, truly is not for public consumption.
And it's just for us.
Just for you.
Yes.
And for you guys. I loved that was the note for your daughter.
Yes. Yep. That was so special.
And hopefully I didn't steal it, but what's the one smaller personal touch you included that means the most to you? Because I share what means the most to me.
Right. No, and that, I mean, absolutely is up there. I think for me, and I don't know if you remember the details to this, but as you know, a big part of our wedding was wanting to include the ones that have passed on. I mean, especially, my dad, being that he wasn't there to walk me down the aisle. And so we had decided on a father-daughter dance. And I don't know if you remember, but the actual song was my mom and dad's wedding song.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So that was their wedding song. And so we used that as the father-daughter dance. And I just got to sit down, and that was my choice. I decided that I wanted to sit down and I wanted to watch, the dads
dance with your daughter.
Yes, my husband danced with my daughter and all the other fathers dancing with their daughters. And I just sat and I watched and I took it all in and I cried. And it was just so special.
We all cried.
We all did.
Many a times.
Not a dry eye. Yeah.
At your wedding.
Yes.
Yeah. And it the episode's out and everything already.
Yeah.
So the wedding where I cried, it's all yours. All yours.
I love it.
If you could relive 5 minutes within your wedding day, when would you go to?
I would just go back to the end of the aisle, looking into Tito's eyes.
And he was sweating buckets.
He was sweating bullets.
So nervous.
And like I said, just feeling like it was just the two of us. Here we go.
Well, and we had talked
Yeah.
before recording of
Yes.
you guys have a unique story wherein outside of your first couple months of being together as a couple,
Right.
it wasn't ever the two of you. So the
Yeah.
fact that in that moment
It
and
was
throughout bits of the ceremony, you could get that it's just the two of us because
exactly.
it hasn't been before.
Exactly. And I think back on that often, just standing and looking into each other's eyes and like you said, just for the 5 minutes, it was just the two of us. And, everybody was there and everybody was supporting us, but it was just the two of us.
I
You
know it
know?
felt like 5 minutes to you,
Yeah.
but I think you actually had closer to a 20-minute ceremony.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And then I realized that there were, 100 people sitting there watching us. But no, just for a couple minutes it was just the two of us. Yeah.
Was there any moment during your wedding day that took you by surprise, good, bad, or just like, oh, that wasn't the plan?
So n- not really, to be honest with you. And not that I mean, not that this came as a surprise to me, but it was not a surprise, but it was just to see how many people came together for us. I think it was just like seeing everybody and physically being able to see everybody coming together. It was just like, wow, you know what I mean? We do have so much support, and to see it all in one place, I think was just like, again, not a shock, but it was just like a pleasant surprise. And the fact that there was no drama at the wedding. You know what
Right.
I don't know what I expected. I don't think I expected there to be drama, but usually, at least behind the scenes, there's a little bit of drama. I mean, there was no drama. It was just all fun. It was all, it was all love and support. And I guess part of me was just like, wow, that was so much easier than I thought it would have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And especially
Yeah.
since you'd had, so much in the planning on like, oh, we have to get to that guest list. So
Mhm.
from being able to bring forward the name on a list
Mhm.
that made a cut, made a decision
Yeah.
to an actual manifestation of a human there,
Yes.
it's like,
Yes.
right, I knew they were coming. I knew I
Yes.
wanted them here. I
Yes. For
invited them.
this
I
reason.
knew that they said that they were coming, but to
Mhm.
actually physically see them
Yes.
here, holy cow.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's that it finally all comes
It
full
all
circle.
yes, exactly. Yep.
If you could change one thing about the wedding, and
Yeah.
again, it doesn't have to be because something went wrong about it,
Right.
but just change one thing,
Yeah.
what would you change?
So I would have definitely taken ibuprofen. Um, I
This
did.
this is not a sponsored video.
Right. I did, when we were getting ready up in the loft, I did have a glass of wine or two on an empty stomach, and I think I should, you know what I mean? I should have had a little something in my
The
stomach.
nurse in you now thinks
Exactly.
that you should have
Yes, yes, been a little more proactive, but that's pretty much the only thing. I mean, looking back, I ended the night with, like, a killer headache, you know.
I ended your wedding with a killer headache.
I think there were quite a few headaches to be had.
Jolly Rancher on tap.
Exactly. That's all we have to say about that. But yeah, just been and, being a little more proactive about, like, taking care of things beforehand. But, the physical wedding itself, I wouldn't have changed a thing.
I make a rule that you are not allowed to say me. So, what was your favorite vendor or service, and why would you recommend them?
Well, there goes my answer.
Sorry. Go with
Let's
another
plug
one.
Amanda Wall. No, so, honestly, we didn't have vendors. Our
Well,
wedding
you had
was
hair, makeup. You had people,
We did.
right?
We did exactly, we had people. We had one of our close friends doing hair and makeup. We had the venue itself catered, so we had half of the food catered by them, and then the other half was brought in by our family, which was so sweet. Other than that, though,
Yeah.
we really didn't have uh, maybe looking back, maybe we would have added, like, you know what I mean? Like, a little
But
coffee truck or something like that.
you guys again walking in, and maybe
Yeah.
this is a testament to the venue. It looks seamless. Like you never would have
Yes.
been able to convince me that it was, oh hey, we just have a couple,
Yes.
friends provided
Right.
this or
Right.
people were called upon to do this
Yep.
because
And that's really what it
you
was.
really. again, it was beautifully executed.
Thank
You
you.
wouldn't have known.
Thank you. I
Mhm.
appreciate that. And seriously, that speaks to, I mean, the kind of support that we have and the kind of friends and family that we have. Because truly, I mean, they set up, we did all of the decorations ourselves. The venue took care of the catering, you know what I mean? And I mean, so
I
really,
even liked when they closed the bar. Like, okay, so
yes.
I didn't like when they
Yeah.
closed the
Right.
bar,
Right.
but from I'm already 3 Jolly Ranchers in and we need to save some for the rest of us, plus food will be served soon.
Right.
It was very,
Yeah.
very smart.
Yes. They did a really good job, I think.
And just I don't know if they like tapped you throughout and said, "Hey, we seek your permission. We're going to do this," or if
Yeah.
they just were like, "We're doing like it's done, it's set. Don't you worry about it."
Yeah. No, I think that was more so, I think they just sort of,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I know some brides absolutely love that. Like,
Hmm.
let go and let God. Like,
Yeah.
let the venue do what I'm
Yes.
paying you for.
Yes.
And there's others who are like, "Ooh, I really want my hand in this.
Right.
I want to be consulted. I want to
Right.
be like just checked in with."
Right. Right.
So there's always that little where does it play in?
Right.
And
I'm
it
sort of like, I leave it up to the the people that know what they're doing
right.
because I certainly didn't know what I was doing. And I had full trust in you and the venue and you know, I like you said, I think everything was pretty
Yeah.
seamless
Yeah.
and I mean everybody just came together and did their little part and it just yeah, it really did come together.
Yours was one of the first weddings, if not the first, that I did a blessing for
Okay.
the reception.
Yes.
All the more that there's a future episode you should listen on why you should not ply your ministers with alcohol and then throw blessings at them. But
Yes.
because a lot of times if people are asking for blessings
Yeah.
at a reception,
Mhm.
they've gone with a more religious ceremony to
Right.
begin with.
Right.
Therefore, they're not necessarily in my realm or sphere.
Right.
So it was just a really, really great honor
Yes.
to be able
Yes.
to be up there. And I had, mentioned, I think as well. I
Mhm.
say I think because
Yeah.
I don't know for sure.
Couple drinks in.
Couple drinks in story of this podcast that I had shared. I also was out there looking in the world. And how
Yes.
do you pick the right person when
Right.
every day there's a lot of new picks and none of them seem kind of great?
Yeah.
I did a wedding that was Harry Potter themed a few after
Nice.
years.
Okay.
And I equate it to the Goblet of Fire. It spits
Mhm.
out matches like online
Yes.
dating.
Yes.
And how do you find the right person when none of them are great?
Right.
Like, do you just pick the
Right.
next best
That right.
or do
Do
you
you
wait?
yeah.
Well, you didn't have to wait for anything, but
I didn't. I mean,
you and Tito's story of we didn't wait.
we didn't wait.
We didn't
We did
wait.
not no, we didn't wait for anything. We went full speed ahead, but I wouldn't change a thing.
Speaking of the wonderful Tito,
Yeah.
how did you and him incorporate your personalities into the day?
Yeah, so I think just honestly, I think the ceremony itself and having the intimacy from from the ceremony and then adding in little funny, bits throughout. I think that totally represents our relationship and our personalities. And then just including like I said, foods from our different cultures and backgrounds.
Families,
Um
making families so key.
right, exactly. And just little like we had our signature drink. We
Jolly Rancher,
the
I
Jolly
looked up how to
Rancher.
make it after that.
Yes. Yeah, and it's pretty easy.
Yep, I believe
We've had it a couple times since then.
it was the drink of choice at the New Year's, the year that you got married,
And
like,
there we
after
go.
I made it
I
because I was
love
like,
it.
"I love this."
Yes. Yes.
This
Our little
reminds me of it.
a little
Actually,
bit.
it really does, the
And
melon with the
yes,
melon
that
because
little
it's a
like
melon liqueur, and then
right?
it's, like, apple schnapps
Something
and
like that.
cranberry juice or
Yes,
something.
cranberry juice. So it's a little bitter and a little sweet. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Flashbacks to Nam.
I know. But yeah, just the food, the drinks, the music. I just think it was a little bit of him, a little bit of me, and and like I said, our families all brought in a little something from their end, and it just all came together, and it represented us and our families and how important family is to us. Yeah.
Wanted to let you get a good drink in there before I
Yes.
asked. What was the most emotional moment for you?
So definitely the little nods to our loved ones that couldn't be with us, specifically the father-daughter dance. I just let myself have that moment,
Feel.
and yeah, I let myself feel, and no shame. During the ceremony, when you added in a quote that my dad had written,
Yeah. Have you looked back on it since?
I have,
Because
and I cry every time.
when I pulled it up, I almost have it memorized
Yes.
because I think about it
Think
a
about
lot.
it often.
But
Yeah.
pulling it back up and reading it,
Mhm.
I almost didn't get through the recording
I know.
without
I know.
getting emotional, which,
I know.
and to like, I just look at that as such a kismet moment that you found
Yeah.
it when you found it, that it
Yes.
came about.
Yes.
And the words were so fitting.
They were.
You couldn't have written it any better in
I
the
know.
moment.
It's like he knew.
He knew. 20 years prior, I think you'd said the quote had been written because it was in a book for his friend.
Yes.
And
Uncle Al.
Uncle Al. Oh, Uncle Al.
Yes. Yes.
And it was if it,
It was as if he kind of,
yep. Because
yeah.
if you'd had a little boy instead of a little girl, it would have
Right.
been the same.
I know.
It just was if he was there,
Yeah.
talking from beyond. And
Exactly.
we so rarely get those moments.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you got one of them.
We
and
did.
I am so fortunate to have been
Yes.
able to give those words life and to have been a part of that, because we don't get those. We don't. I don't quite know how we, auto quote or caption sobs on a podcast, but we'll get it good. We'll get it good. And for those that are wondering, I highly recommend that I will not be saying the quote again right now, because I was not intoxicated the first time I said them, and I will not be intoxicated the second. Please listen to the previous recording for the amazing words
Absolutely.
that we found from Amanda's dad that we were able to put into the wedding. And I recently, I was at an expo, younger couple.
Yeah.
Probably 2021.
Yeah.
Very young.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like a 2028 wedding.
Yeah.
They want to save up money. They
Sure.
want to have
Sure.
some time.
Sure.
And the bride mentioned that her aunt is not doing well.
Okay.
And almost terminal.
Sure.
And I immediately thought, okay,
Yeah.
see if your aunt has a brooch, a piece of jewelry,
Yes.
something that if you're not going to move the wedding to fit her, which
Right.
I would never
Sure.
ask anybody to do.
Exactly.
You need to work on your own life and your own
Sure.
timeframe.
Absolutely.
See if there's pieces that she currently has that at least then she knows upon passing, you are carrying into her wedding day.
Exactly. Yes.
My grandmother would have never thought of that.
Right. Right.
My cousin and I both have bits of her jewelry that we put on our birthdays.
Right.
But you make sure she knows that.
Yes.
If you know,
that is so special.
if you know what you know, you make sure she knows.
Yes.
That this is getting carried forward, and
right.
Get a quote.
Yeah.
Get something in writing.
Yeah.
Ask her to just do something as simple as define love.
Yep.
And
hang on to it. Yeah.
Take it and run with it and put it
Absolutely.
into a wedding ceremony. Write it in your kid's baby book.
Yes.
Write it down. Do things with it.
Yes.
Because that is the greatest gift that we can have. And
it is.
As I told you at the podcast, like I'll hold this, even the whole unedited portion, in perpetuity.
Right.
And should there be a day where your kids want this?
Absolutely.
We've got it.
I love it.
We've got it.
I love it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
First wedding I cried at. Again, the first wedding I did was for a dear, dear friend. I did not cry. I was more stressed and frustrated.
Right.
Yours is the first one I cried at. And probably,
you weren't alone.
No. Probably the second one was a sorority sister who throughout college, I'd watched her, fall for the bad guys. And the heartache at her saying, why am I alone?
When is it going to be my turn? Yeah.
And I married her to the love of her life.
Yes.
And then if you want a full circle moment here, she did a reading at my wedding.
Okay.
And she comes up to me at the reception and says, I'm drinking water. And I go,
oh, stop it.
Honey.
Stop it.
I'm at a baby shower next month.
Oh, that's
Again, those
fantastic.
full circle
Oh
moments I
my
love. So again,
gosh.
having back here again,
I love it.
and the fact that you were a bride that I didn't even think I would do this at all with my life.
I
And
know.
now here you are
I know.
on my
I love
podcast.
it. I'm so excited for you.
We're like dead.
Oh, I love it. And cheers to that too, you know? Congratulations.
Polish that. Polish that.
Polish that one down. Cheers to that.
I only have to pack a house, but it's fine.
No biggie.
So as we take a moment and
Yeah.
collect ourselves from
Mhm.
some really great and deeply felt emotions.
Yes.
You talked a little about this before about,
Mhm.
kind of those moments key with Tito of like, wow, it's just the two of us.
Right.
And that you sat out for the father-daughter
Mhm.
dance to really soak that in.
Mhm.
Were there other moments of the day that you really wanted to make sure that you stayed present for and that you were like, like click, this is a memory?
Right.
And how did you find the time to do that in your
Right.
day?
Right. I do like I am, I think by nature a sentimental person, and I think just from going through the things that I've been through, I do often find myself reminding myself to take those moments to sit back and just take it all in. Take in every feeling, every smell, every, you know what I mean? Just take it all in, even if just for a minute, and just breathe it in and make it intentional to remember it going forward. But I do remember, the moment standing looking into Tito's eyes and just being intentional about looking at him and just not thinking about anything else that was going on. I remember a moment in time they had us sitting at the front of the venue, and it was, the sweetheart table or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
they
yeah.
call it. And I just,
Had a great
yeah,
backdrop. Yeah, you
yeah.
had a really nice backdrop.
Thank you. That was DIY as well. I mean,
Course.
of course. I mean, everything was DIY. But and just sitting and just being able to have that view of all of the tables laid out and all of our family members gathered around, and like I said, we come from two very different backgrounds, and just to see everybody getting along. I mean, it sounds like a fairy tale. It sounds like, but I mean, truly, everybody gets along in our families. You know what I mean? Everybody's come together, and just to be able to sit and look out amongst our guests and to see everybody mingling and dancing and laughing, and I just remember just sitting and just watching and just
Yeah.
just feeling like it's all come together, and here we are, and look at all the support we have. I mean, that's just everything. That's absolutely everything to us.
You guys had a ton of support from,
Yes.
from the get-go and throughout your
Mhm.
relationship. But I think it's also really, really wonderful that, again, your families in coming together, I don't want to say, they knew like put up or shut up, but like
Right.
you had the next generation already there.
Yeah.
Families have already combined.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
there's no need to be like, oh, hey, who are you? We don't know you. It's like,
Right.
nope, we'll see you for birthdays. We'll
Ex
see you for Christmases. We'll see you
exactly.
for all the holidays
Yes.
because there is already this next level in our family story here.
Yes.
And I think a lot of families at weddings, depending on, maybe if they're from different states or
Mhm.
how much they've actually gotten to
Mhm.
interact with each other before the wedding,
Mhm.
there is a little bit of not standoffish, but just I don't really know these people.
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
how do I invest my time with them?
Right.
Where when already have a kid in play, it's like,
Exactly.
hey,
We're
this
we're
kid
doing
is
this.
is already calling me aunt and uncle. This
Exactly.
kid already
Yep.
knows that I'm grandma, grandpa.
Yep.
Like we
We're
are
doing this.
already family.
Yes.
We just finally get to call this as
And
we talked about before.
yes.
This is a celebration reunion,
Yes.
not a funeral or
Exactly.
something really rough and tragic where we all need to come
Exactly.
together. This is the good kind of come
Yes.
together.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. What is one thing that you think brides may forget to consider in either planning or in the wedding process? Like, what's something
Right.
it goes by the wayside?
It does. Yeah. I would say a backup plan, a plan B. That is something that I did not I just kind of thought everything would go without a hitch, and it did. The couple little bumps that I mean, looking back,
You don't remember now.
exactly. I mean, our flowers, I don't know if you remember this ordeal, but our flowers had all died in my twin sister's refrigerator. And so it was like, what are we going to do? And it was, I mean, and we figured it out. She ran to a couple local flower shops and she pulled something together. But just having a backup plan for things like that.
Did you have any stress that the dress won't fit? Now, full disclaimer, Amanda was mere months postpartum, looked freaking amazing
Thank you.
in her dress.
Thank you.
The back was like drape off, like
Yes.
almost like 1920s
Yes.
glitzy,
Yep.
the fit of it.
Yep. Sort of.
It was gorgeous.
Thank you.
And
It's exactly what I wanted. And fun fact, my twin sister picked it out for me. So,
of course she
go
did.
figure. Yeah. Thank
But
you.
I know. So I've obviously lost a lot of weight
Yeah.
in past years.
Yes.
Dresses and outfits have been fun.
Right.
I found a dress, thrift store, $75.
Yeah.
It's in that closet there. I'll show you later.
Okay.
And had a sorority sister take it in and customize
Yeah.
it for me.
Yeah.
I was so stressed. I kept losing weight up to the wedding
Oh my God.
that we were
Yes.
thinking it wasn't going to fit in the swim at me rate.
Right.
Were you worried in a recent postpartum of like, well, what if it doesn't fit?
A little bit, yes, because another fun fact is that I tried my dress, like I went wedding dress shopping at 6 or 7 months pregnant.
But that might have not have been too bad when you consider like the conversion rate. I hate to say
No,
conversion rate,
exactly
but
though.
like,
Exactly.
okay.
And so I did, I mean, I had a pretty small bump up until, you know, I don't know, maybe 8 or so months pregnant. And so I figured, well, if it looks good on me at 6 months pregnant, chances are it'll look good on me
Post
2
two.
months postpartum. So I wanted something a little bit forgiving. So but I was a little worried. Thank you.
Didn't need to be forgiving. It was bonus.
Thank you. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was at the top of my priorities or anything like that, but I was a little bit worried about, what if it doesn't fit right in this area or that area? But I mean, I think it came to, I mean, like I said, I figured if it looked good on me 6 months pregnant, it was bound to, look half decent, 2 months postpartum. Yeah, that I wasn't super worried about, but it was a thought in my head for sure.
Plan on like, hey, if it fits now, it'll fit then.
Right.
Because
Right.
so many, I mean, they don't think in terms of that for
Exactly.
future planning.
Right.
I had a bride. She's actually getting married August of this year. She was
Okay.
supposed to get married December of last year.
Okay.
I emailed her 6 months out and said,
Okay.
hey, just checking wedding still on.
Yeah.
She goes, we knew we forgot to tell somebody I'm pregnant. I'm due the week of the wedding. We are moving the wedding. Hope you're still available.
Oh, I know. Life happens. It does.
Life happens.
Yes,
And
it does.
it's one of the reasons, in addition to like the quote from your dad of
Right.
things we find at the last minute.
Yes.
Why I don't write scripts too far in
Mhm.
advance, because I have found that some of your most free loving, we
Yeah.
love craft beer and concerts
Yeah.
couples.
Yeah.
By the time I married them a year after consult,
Yeah.
we love our family.
Yes.
We love our child.
Yes.
Oh, a weekend free? We're not backpacking. We
Right.
are watching Miss Rachel.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And I want to capture
Yes.
the sentiment of where
Where you're
are.
at. Yep.
And similar thing with family members passing.
Yes.
Again, the 20-something-year-olds who meet with me,
Right.
I don't wish any of it on them.
Right.
But if we get closer to the wedding and you say, hey, we need a moment of silence,
Right.
we are darn straight going to take it.
Exactly.
Because
There's room for that. Yeah.
life has that way of
Yep.
creeping
Yes.
up on us.
Yes, it
And
does.
I don't want to be so stuck in my way to say,
Right.
oh no, your scripts are in. I wrote it the second I met you. There are no changes.
Exactly. Exactly.
No.
Yes.
So here we are. We've made it to the end.
Yeah.
We've made it through 2 bottles of wine for those counting. We've made it.
Wondering.
We've made it through laughter and through tears.
Yes.
In as much detail as you want to give,
Mhm.
what are you up to now?
So, we've been so busy. I mean, it's been like I said, full speed ahead. We have 2 children now,
A little boy, little
a little
girl.
boy, little girl. Our little Rosie is 7 years old, and our Brinton, fun fact that's, you know the story of Brinton, my maiden name. He is 2, and
And he's got the most gorgeous locks of hair. Not that Rosie didn't,
yeah,
but Bryn's hair
he's got the little ringlets.
curls.
I know.
And that's gotta be Tito's side. Like
Yes,
he's got the
he's
curly,
got the curls,
but the
and
coloring is that of the hair. It's auburny. Is
it
that more your
is.
side?
That comes from my side. Yeah, that comes more from my side. So he's got a little bit of both in us. But I mean, they're keeping us so busy at all times. We both are kind of in new jobs. He's working from home as a freight broker, which is I mean, that's his world. And
We'll have to have
I don't claim to know doing, I'm still in healthcare.
a
I'm still a
nurse, a
nurse.
proud nurse.
I absolutely am. I do pediatric nursing now. So
Now, what were you nursing? What was your nursing realm during COVID?
well, during that time I was doing pediatric nursing.
Okay.
So, since Rosie was tiny, I've been doing the pediatric, which I never saw myself doing. But here we are, like 7 years in, and I couldn't see myself doing anything else. But prior to the pediatric, I was actually on the geriatric end. So total opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
And yeah, we have a house.
Close family. You're so
It,
incredibly close with your family.
yes.
And if you aren't, I am because I'm friends with your mother on Facebook.
With
And as our final question, our final cheers,
cheers.
if you could give one piece of advice to a newlywed couple. So again, might not be all the
Right.
clarity that you've got
Right.
now, but look back at who you were then.
Right.
Maybe it's another bride who's finding herself planning while pregnant.
Right. Right.
A piece of advice to a newlywed, what would it be?
Oh, like I said, I could go on and on. Might not be the advice that everybody needs to hear. Looking back, and I think, this has been kind of something that we have been really intentional with. Could we be more intentional? Absolutely. But we're busy. We get
Time is time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But just keeping your relationship at the forefront of everything. Intentional date nights.
Tell the people what you're doing after this.
We have a little date night arranged. We have babysitting arranged, going out for a little, dinner date reservations, the whole thing.
After 8 years, you
Oh,
have to.
oh, absolutely.
With
And
2 kids, 2 jobs, a
right.
house,
Yep.
family,
You have to. You have to. And it really is a priority for us. We don't necessarily have a set, oh, we have to do a date night every month or every, but
when you're missing it.
exactly.
You know when it's lacking.
You know
And
when it's needed.
as soon as you notice that, hey, it's been a while.
Right.
See something, say something, friends.
Exactly.
Say, hey, I notice it's been a while.
Yep.
Cough, cough, wink, wink, nudge,
Yep.
nudge. And if you have to, hit.
Exactly.
We should plan something because you don't want to ignore that warning.
Yes. And my husband said something we were, just kind of, I don't know, this whole thing has given us a chance to sort of like relive, and just look back, and it's something that we don't do often enough, just to sort of like rehash and relive. We know we always know why we're here. You know what I mean? We always know how we got here, but just to like sort of think back and talk about it and, like I said, relive. And my husband made a really good point, and it was super sweet the way he said it, so I have to include it.
Of course.
But he said,
full credit to Tito.
Full credit to Tito. He's an amazing man. He said, continue to water your tree of marriage. Continue to water the tree that marriage is. And if
from the
roots on up, and if the tree gives you fruit, you still need to water it. You still need to water that tree. And that was so sweet to me because our tree has given us fruit. You know what I mean? We do still need to water it, to keep the fruit going.
And when there's not fruit, maybe there's flowers.
Exactly.
Maybe it's a flowering tree.
Exactly. And maybe it's just leaves.
Or maybe it's just getting an inch taller every year
Yes.
you still have to
Yes.
water it. And
Exactly.
I love that.
I
I love
loved it
that.
too. I thought it was so sweet.
So yeah, any final thoughts, feelings, words that you'd give out into the world?
I'm just thank you for I mean, this has been so fun. But like I said, just to be able to sort of relive and rehash and look back, and it was just like I we needed this,
I like
and I
doing it with couples who've been married a
yeah,
little bit because I
right.
feel like the
I can't believe
advice,
it's been 8 years, but here we are.
because the things you would say at myself, 5 months
Yeah,
out or,
yeah,
a year out
yeah.
are different.
Different.
They get colored over time.
Yes.
And I love that again. I gave you and Tito a reason to reflect at 8
Yes.
years when a lot of
Yes.
people reflect at 20, at
Yes.
30 even.
Yes.
Nope, you had an excuse. You got to reflect at 8.
Yeah.
And maybe there's
So
a
special.
few couples that are at 4 or 5, and I'll,
Right.
I'll be able to get them on and do
Right.
some additional
Right.
reflection.
Yes. I love it. And thank you for having me. That was so fun. Cheers again.
Thank you for listening to The Wedding Wear with Officiating by Amanda. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and found some inspiration or insight for your own special day. This podcast is hosted on Buzzsprout and can be found on all major platforms. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, comment, and share to help us reach even more listeners who might laugh a little at The Wedding Wear. For the links referenced in the show, visit Linktree at Officiating by Amanda. You can also follow the business on Facebook, Wedding Wire, and The Knot to stay up to date on everything going on. If you have a question you'd like me to answer on the podcast, just send an email to theweddingwearpodcast@gmail.com. And if you're ready to inquire about officiating services for your own big day, you can reach me at officiatingbyamanda@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, this has been Amanda.